Hey everyone, my name is Caleb Williams. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you can't tell, I'm really excited to share with you this next video. I was going through my old videos back in 2018, before my book was published, and I found this video about real estate and life insurance, and it's actually using a real estate calculator by Truth Concepts. And I look at a real estate deal that's a good deal, and then what I do is I show how you can take life insurance and what I call controlled compounding strategy, and just put that and enhances the real estate to take it from like 18% to over 100% rate of return because you're leveraging your savings. And I'm like, this is actually really good. And I did a decent job on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make an intro, and you can watch a clip that I've never released to the public as it relates to YouTube. But it was something that, while I was learning this, while I was writing the book, I was experimenting with other things. And I think I used this example in my book, The And Asset. So a couple things I want to say. Number one, I'm using a calculator by Truth Concepts. You can check them out at truthconcepts.com. And then the other thing that I want you to know is I talk about controlled compounding, and I want to break this concept down because I talk a little bit about in my book about it. But controlled compounding is this concept of, wouldn't it be amazing to have our money grow the rest of our life? There's this thing called lost opportunity cost, and lost opportunity cost essentially says that every decision we make today has a long-term consequence. And a lot of people are losing money unknowingly because they don't understand how $1 today, if it's gone or spent, can affect their future. And so when we talk about controlled compounding, one of the principles is you need uninterrupted lifetime growth. Okay. But then you also need control of your money. I talk about in my book that this is the ninth wonder of the world. And I would take control over compounding any day of the week because I can control capital and make way more than a typical 4, 5, 6, maybe even 8% compounded rate for the rest of your life. The epiphany that I had was when life insurance is set up and used properly, and I'm using a conservative whole life insurance policy here. So it's not like I'm not overstating anything. Your money is going to continue to grow for the rest of your life. So we're not disrespecting the value of your dollar today. So many people are going through life disrespecting the value of what their dollar could be 30 years from now. And so I'm not doing that, but I'm also utilizing the loan provision in the policy to take out a loan. And I think in this video, I talk about a 5% loan, and that's what I talk about control cost. That's the cost of controlling capital in this equation. When I do that, I'm able to take a real estate deal where I went out of pocket for the down payment, and I was able to make that my second loan. And as a result, take this thing from a good rate of return to an even better rate of return while my money is continuing to grow in the policy. So this is really, it's as simple as learning how to leverage your savings and being more efficient over a long period of time. Now, this disclaimer I want to make is it does not make sense to take a policy loan to invest or put it into an activity that gets you less rate of return than your control cost or your cost of capital. And so that is my one recommendation. And in just like I'm showing this overinflated number because we're using leverage, and that's what usually happens when you look at calculations and you're able to leverage a dollar and make it more do more than one job. It looks great. The same thing goes poorly if you leverage a dollar at 5 and earn 3. You'd see that you would make a negative rate of return. And so I just want to give that context. And so without further ado, please check out the video. If you enjoy this content, please let me know, like this video, share it, subscribe to our channel, because we're publishing content all the time around money, around helping people unlock intentional living. And again, this brought a smile back to my face because in 2018 I've been preaching this, and it's cool to see a lot of our clients and case studies actually do something like this, whether it relates to their business or real estate. And so I'm excited to actually share customers and clients' journey going through this because I think it's really inspiring. This is Better Wealth with Caleb Williams. All right, so the controlled compounding strategy is all about taking total control of your money today, but also letting it grow compounded, tax-free in the future. And those two combinations, it can be really, really deadly when used with a real estate deal. And so I'm gonna share with you a quick real estate deal that I think many of us would be interested in learning more at, or maybe invest, and how the controlled compounding strategy just totally enhance this deal to be even greater. So the property price was going to be $200,000. The closing costs that were going to be incurred were going to be about $5,000. A bank could give you a 20-year note at 6.5%. and that was the payments were going to be $1,193. We included property tax, insurance, maintenance. This person's tax bracket was 35%, and the capital gains rate was 15%. And we were assuming a 4% appreciation, which depending on the property in place, could be aggressive or could be very not aggressive. And again, we're analyzing this over 20 years. This is not a flip. This is actually analyzing the rate of return of a property over 20 years. And the things to look at is this is our monthly cash flow, and this would be kind of the future property value. So you take this deal, and many of us would, jump on that. I mean, almost 19% for an investment is pretty powerful. But how can we make this better? How can the controlled compounding strategy make this better? Well, we look at how you purchase this property, and we know that you use the bank for 80%, but what did this person do for the other 20% plus the closing cost? This money had to come from somewhere. Most real estate investors put their money in safe, liquid places because access to capital is king, cash is king. And so usually this money is growing at 0% in a savings account. And when deals come up, they have access to money, and so that you can get that money down for down payment. And most people that are into the real estate game know that using the power of leverage in the right way, using other people's money can be very powerful. And so the controlled compounding strategy is all about showing you how you can have your maybe $40,000, your down payment, how it can be growing long term for the future, but you can also collateralize that or borrow against that to go and purchase your real estate. Why would anyone want to do that? Well, if you take this example, and let's say you paid cash for the closing costs, but that $40,000, instead of paying it directly out of your pocket, because once that money's gone, that will never be able to earn for you ever again. What if your $40,000 could be growing tax-free in the future, but you could use that as collateral to also get this deal? And let's say the cost of that would then be 5%. The reason we're using 5% is a strategy, the controlled compounding strategy that we use. We can access funds for 5% or cheaper, and also our money is going to grow tax-free for the future. And so if you look at this person, instead of taking $40,000, but they're borrowing against it, it's continuing to grow. You look at that over 20 years. Now you take that investment that was like 19%, 18 something, and now you make that same property. You just change how you purchase that property, and you increase your rate of return. Why does that work? Well, your risk or your money that you're investing is now only $5,000 instead of $45,000. See, your $40,000, this is still your money, but it's the more efficient way to purchase, because why would you want to take this out of being productive? If this money's growing with lifelong tax-free compounding growth, why would you want to take that out? If you could borrow against it, you could have a lot more control over your money, but also it can increase that property to be over 90%. Now some of you are also into flips, and I find flipping very, very interesting, and I'm just going to pull up a rate calculator here. What if your property that you wanted to flip, let's say it was going to earn you kind of 15%, and we're going to compare this to a cash on cash comparison. So let's say there's this property that you can buy that if you can flip and you can make a 15% increase. So you buy it for X, you put so much money in, you end up flipping it, and you make 15% on your money. And a lot of flippers use cash because of just simplicity, because they don't want to wait for a bank. They just want to get kind of in and out. And so a lot of people use cash, and since it's 1 year, it doesn't seem to make that big of a difference. Well, what if you use a controlled compounding strategy for this case scenario? You take that 15% flip, and instead of using your money would be continuing to grow. You'd be collateralizing it, borrowing against it, and your 15% flip now turns into 200,000% flip. And it's not too good to be true. It's just pure math, understanding, using leverage in your favor. What's interesting about the strategy, though, is this is money that you currently have. We're just using it more efficiently. So it's a long-term strategy with short-term benefits. Thank you so much for listening to the BetterWealth podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.